Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So now guys, sometimes I feel like I am a soothsayer because it was barely 2 days ago that I was speculating on this possibility, and here it is, quick as flash. As guys, I bring you this. Efcc goes after Bola Tinubu for corruption, writes to CCB for ex-Lagos governors asset documentations. So now the CCB, of course, the Code of Conduct Bureau, which is, of course, where everybody and anybody in politics registers their asset, especially before they take an elective office or governmental office. So the declaration that Tinubu has made to this body now is where they are starting their investigation as they move towards 2023. It's now going to start to escalate within the Nigerian space. Abubakar Malami's move, of course, the Attorney General of the Federation, the Fulani Attorney General of Nigeria, is the person behind this, of course, because he took out Magu, put in his own cousin Bawa, and Bawa's first move, of course, now is to go after Tinubu. Again, the headline, EFCC goes after Bola Tinubu for corruption, writes CCB for ex-Lagos governors asset documents. So now let's now see what game is afoot here. EFCC's ability to prove its case could prove more challenging than officials boasted, as Mr. Tinubu tucked his deals and assets in complex layers of financial maneuverings. The EFCC has requested Bola Tinubu's asset declaration document from the Code of Conduct Bureau in a politically charged inquiry that could see the former Lagos governor and ruling party chieftain arrested and prosecuted before 2023. The Anti-Graft Office in November 2020 asked the Asset Fraud Investigation Office to supply details of Mr. Tinubu's asset documents as part of an ongoing probe of the politician. According to a copy of the request obtained by correspondence, the request, dated November 6, was a follow-up to previous demands made with respect to Mr. Tinubu's asset filings. In the letter, the EFCC referred to its previous letter of September the 4th, 2020, and CCB's response of October the 9th, 2020, asking the Bureau to supply outstanding requested information of Bola Ahmed Adekunle Tinubu. It was not immediately clear whether or not the CCB has obliged the EFCC's request for additional information ever since, or the nature and scope of information provided, if applicable. The EFCC's November 6 memo also included another high-profile politician and Buhari administration official, but correspondence lawyers advised that his identity should be protected until reporters and editors have established why he is being investigated. Respective spokesperson for the EFCC and CCB did not return request seeking comments about Mr. Tinubu's investigation as led by Abdulrasheed Bawa when he was head of Lagos Zonal Office. Mr. Bawa was confirmed as the chairman of the EFCC last week, despite being a subject of a smothered corruption probe, and officials said he is now fully in charge of Mr. Tinubu's case. A spokesman for Mr. Tinubu did not return calls and messages seeking comments, but two associates strategizing for the former governor told correspondents that he had already learnt of the probe and sent messages to President Buhari for mercy. Asiwaju Tinubu contacted the president some weeks ago to protest that his hands are clean of any dubious practices, the source said under anonymity, to avoid damaging his relationship with the Lagos heavyweight. He told the president that if the EFCC must proceed with its probe, then it has to do so with compassion and fear of God. But what Asiwaju really wants is for the investigation to stop, because we all know it was instigated by Abubakar Malami to harass and persecute the party leader and destabilize him before 2023, the source said. Another source close to Mr. Tinubu said he recently heard the politician complaining about the influence of the Attorney General on the Buhari administration. We were together and I heard it when he said Malami wanted to become the kingmaker in the APC, the source said. He also said Malami does not have the intellectual strength to direct the affairs of a ruling party and will not be allowed to kill the party. A senior EFCC official familiar with Mr. Tinubu's investigation said the agency was aided in part by Nigeria's adoption of a financial system driven by modern surveillance infrastructure. Mr. Tinubu was already arraigned in 2011 for asset declaration fraud, but the matter was dismissed due to the failure of the prosecutor to provide enough evidence to substantiate their claim that he operated foreign bank accounts whilst governor between 1999 and 2007. But the EFCC has now found additional information and believed it would successfully nail Mr. Tinubu using the same set of asset documents but with advanced layers of verification. Nigeria has adopted the bank verification number and strengthened its financial intelligence department since 2011. The EFCC has traveled a long distance from 2011 when Tinubu was first prosecuted, an anti-graft chief said. Now we are carrying out a tech-driven anti-corruption war. The official also said Mr. Tinubu's alleged asset fraud is only an aspect of multiple counts to be instituted against him by the EFCC. We have petitions from a group in Abuja that we should investigate the source of those bullion vans that were driven into his house in 2019, the official said. We are also investigating his use of several proxies to collude with governors in Lagos and siphon money from the state. In November, bank documents that showed how Mr. Tinubu's Alpha Beta was moving the questionable funds it received from Lagos State into other companies linked to Mr. Tinubu, including broadcaster, TVC, and Lagos Metro bus providers, were published. But EFCC's ability to prove its case against Mr. Tinubu this time could still prove more challenging than officials boasted, especially as he was said to have tucked his deals and assets in complex layers of financial maneuverings. Officials could not immediately comment on what Mr. Buhari knew about Mr. Tinubu's probe, but they expressed confidence that the president would be reluctant to stand in the way of a criminal investigation. Mr. Tinubu has long been considered untouchable because of the role he played in bringing Mr. Buhari to power, but his influence has waned since 2015 when Mr. Buhari shut him out of his inner circles after being sworn in as president. An arrest and prosecution of Mr. Tinubu could blight his 2023 chances for president. The former Lagos governor opened a campaign office in Abuja last year, although he has yet to publicly declare his presidential run. One of Mr. Tinubu's associates who spoke with correspondents said his ambition clashed with some other interests within the ruling APC, especially those of Mr. Malami. We know that it is the turn of the South to produce the next president, Mr. Tinubu's associate said, so we don't know why they are trying to humiliate him with their preliminary 2023 politics that they want to use to remove him from consideration for our party's ticket. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is now the heavy weight of our politics that you're seeing at play now. This is politics at its dirtiest, its murkiest. This is politics at the highest level. This is what you're seeing playing out now. So everybody is now positioned, and we often say that there are no permanent friends or permanent foes in politics. Look at what Tinubu did to drive this Buhari into power. Tinubu spent his personal fortune to force Goodluck Jonathan out of office and used Buhari's popularity in the north and his stronghold of the south to push him into power. This is what happened, and the unspoken understanding then was that Buhari will serve his tenure and hand over to Tinubu. So that is the thing. But then, of course, the luster and the allure of power is so potent that once you get hold of it, you never want to let it go. This is why we are having 30, 40 year in tenure presidents and head of states all over the span of Africa. We just saw Museveni declared himself president of Uganda for the 40th year now. That guy had been ruling, he has rather been ruling Uganda now for 35 years, and the average age in Uganda is 40. So he has been ruling that country pretty much for the entirety of the life of the vast majority of the people of that country. They've never known anything other. So that is the allure of our power, especially within an African setting or a third world setting. It's almost like a godlike power that they get in that position. So once they get hold of it, they never want to let it go, is really the point that I am making. So now there are two things at play here, and I've often said that whenever I do this type of videos. The first thing at play is the North is maneuvering to see how we can hold on to power in perpetuity. So holding on to power in perpetuity would mean not handing over to the South in 2023. So if they are able not to hand over to the South in 2023, then that completely brings to an end. You have your turn and I have my turn. So that brings that completely to a halt. But then if they hand over power to the South in 2023, then that legitimizes that power rotation, and that becomes then almost like an unspoken constitutional position. It's almost because the precedence now has now been solidified by that transition of power to the South. So that is the first strategy. The second strategy is, if they are not able to get away with the first strategy, then the Southerner that is going to be the president is going to be somebody of their picking, and somebody that they will tell to sit down there, and he will sit down there. So almost somebody like Goodluck Jonathan, or even weaker, is the person that they are looking to fill in that slot. And the other element is, a lot of them feel that Tinubu is too corrupt and too intelligent, that it presents then a real threat to their political positioning. So a lot of it, anti-Tinubu, a lot of it, their own personal desire to hold on to power. And at the arrowhead of all of this is, of course, Abubakar Malami. I have said it before, that guy is the strategist of the cabal. So once Abakari is gone, he has taken over that slot. He has taken Efcc into his portfolio to use them as a weapon to beat everybody out of the way, to clear the path for his ambition. He has control, of course, of the minister of the Chief Justice of the Federation, because he facilitated his appointment. He got rid of Onogen and put Mohammed Tanko there, so, and he has, of course, control of the police as well and the army. So the stage is set now. What Tinubu has is his political associations and his wealth. So the stage is set now for the heavy weight of the instrumentality of state weighed against the Tinubu as one individual that is seeking that seat. And the stakes are very high, by the way, because Tinubu is a very clever man, so you have to move very swiftly to maneuver him out of the way. So they are going to present Tinubu with two options really. They are going to build a case file for against him, rather not for him but against him. They are going to build a case file against him and then call him in that, look, we know that you are Oga's pal and we don't want to embarrass you publicly, but this is what we have on you. So you drop that 2023 ambition or you go to jail. So drop it or go to jail will be the option that they will give Tinubu. And Tinubu, don't be surprised then if you start hearing Tinubu in the next 6 months or so saying that he's not interested in the presidency and he doesn't know why people are putting his name forward and the position should now go to a younger man, etc., etc. So you can hear that language, or Tinubu can battle it all the way through and see if he can match himself against the weight and the instrumentality of state as is being orchestrated by Abubakar Malami. So now the plot thickens and it's going to get nastier and more unpleasant and a lot bloodier. Even lives will be lost in this journey now to 2023, and the kickstart, the gunshot to start off the race has now been fired now by this Tinubu investigation. Conversations in the comment section. Abubakar Malami has the ambition to be president himself, by the way. This is something that we have to take into consideration. Come share thoughts about all this with me in the comment section. But before you come into the comment section to engage, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Click on like as well because that helps with the YouTube algorithm. Once you've done all the clickings, Operation Get Tinubu has been started, which then of course kickstarts the race to the Aso Rock seat in 2023. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation on with you in the comment section, but here I say peace.